We're here with the St. Anselm College men's lacrosse team following their 13-11 defeat to the top-seeded Adelphi Panthers in the NCAA semifinals. We're joined by head coach Drew Bordeaux, Colin Moldy, and Kobe Goodchild. We'll start with an opening statement from head coach Bordeaux. Coach?
I just think, super proud of our team, with a really small senior class and, the fall that we had. I think it was a lot of work to be able to get here, but these guys' goals was to get to this exact point, and, I thought that we had an incredible fight until the very end. It was just, a matter of we just made too many little mistakes to be able to win this game, especially in between the lines. So just super proud of our entire team, our senior class, and especially these two sitting next to me. They played an incredible game.
Well, you guys came out of the first half very hot, had a lead in the first half, lost the shot battle 14-9, but headed into the break 8-7, and then everything kind of flipped with the defensive presence of Adelphi in the second half. Speak a little more as to the two tides that were the first and second half.
I think, the game was kind of won in the middle of the field. I thought that's where we struggled the most, and that's on me. I kind of saw something that I thought we could take advantage of, and we just weren't able to do it. And I thought, that first half, I think they had 5 or 6 transition goals. So we were doing a fantastic job, 6-on-6. And I think what it just came down to in the second half was the amount of possessions, especially to start the third quarter. We failed 2 or 3 clears, and they were able to score off of that. And then we weren't really winning face-offs to start that third quarter. And when you're not getting the ball as much as we were in the first half, you feel like you kind of got a force. And I think we, kind of went away from our identity on the offensive end and started taking some shots that we, kind of talked about pregame, trying not to take, and just, kind of gave Dylan Renner some easy saves. But I thought it was really right in the middle of the field was where we kind of lost the game, and it was credit to those guys for riding hard.
So any game between these two programs is always a battle. 3 great games this year, and St. A's and Adelphi have now ended the North Region 2 years in a row, and this program stands as the only one to give Adelphi a loss since March of 2024. So what does that say about your program and the standard that has been raised within these past couple seasons?
Yeah, I just think it just speaks to the culture of the program for sure. It's when I was a freshman 10 years ago, there wasn't a lot of belief in the locker room, but the belief that we have in our locker room, every single guy knows that we can win every single game that we go into. And I think it was just big for our program to kind of get that weight off our shoulders of not having to win against this team. So I'm super proud of them for that. And now it's taking that next step of winning them in the big games when it matters the most.
So we talked a little bit about the history here. I'm Mike Scully, I'm with Newsday. Obviously, always close when you guys are fighting, but was there anything that you took from the last 2 meetings this year that impacted the way you prepare for today?
I think, defensively, I thought we did a much better job this time around. They're such great feeders and spot feeders and kind of throw guys open inside, and I thought that when we played in the NA10 championship, we were kind of in no man's land when it came to defense, and I thought our defense was just completely locked down for a majority of that game. They kind of went on a run there in the third quarter and in the fourth quarter, but for the most part, I thought we were doing a fantastic job, 6-on-6, and then offensively, I thought that our off-ball movement was kind of what was able to help us be successful these past 3 games, and I thought we were still pretty successful today, but that's kind of what we saw going into this one.
And you talked a little bit about the culture and how far it's come since you've taken over. What is it about this locker room that makes that culture as impactful as it has been?
I think it's just a connection of the guys. We kind of talked about it at the end of the game there. These guys, I think a lot of teams say family and a lot of teams say brothers, and it's something that, someone once told me that you really don't have to love the guy to your right or to your left. You really don't have to be a family, but these guys choose to be every single day. These guys have opened up to one another more than I've seen 18 to 22-year-old men do, and I feel like they've shared a lot with one another that has helped them build that trust. And when you're a connected team, you're a really tough team to beat, and these guys are willing to give every single thing they have. I think it speaks to, like, Nash Kelly playing with a broken hand against Pace. Finn Granara for the past month wasn't able to lift his arm, above like his chest, and he was just playing with so much pain, and he wanted to do it because he loved the guy to his right and to his left. So many guys playing banged up. This guy was playing with, most people, what he did to his hamstring would be out, probably for a month, and he grinded his way through. It's because how much he loves the guy to his right or to his left. So I'm just super proud of these guys. I've said to every single one of them that they don't have to play injured, but I can't stop them because they want to battle for one another so bad.
And what was the message coming out of that third quarter after the run began? That obviously you guys put a few in at the end there to make it really a game. What was kind of the message that made that possible?
In the third or the fourth?
Going into the fourth quarter.
Yeah, I think it was just, we've always, fight for everything, and we just kept telling one another it's going to be one hell of a story when we come back, and I think it just speaks to, these guys and the fight that they have, and all we were worried about is just trying to make the next play, make the next stop, make the next, get the next ground ball, get the next goal, whatever it was. So that was really the message, is there's nothing we can do to change what's happened up to this point. The only thing you can do is just fight for the next one.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Coach, Kobe, Colin, thank you guys so much. Congratulations on a great season.
Absolutely.
We are here with the Adelphi University men's lacrosse team following their 13-11 victory over two-seeded St. Anselm College to return to the national championship game for their second season in a row. We are joined by head coach Gordon Purdy, goalkeeper Dylan Renner, Noah Gibson, and Ryan Dernan. Coach Purdy, we'll start with the opening statement from you. How do you feel about your team's performance today?
I felt at times we were hot and cold. But with that said, a shout out to a great team, St. Anselm, who really helped make us better this year. The challenge of them winning the first game, and that second one could have gone either way for that Northeast 10 championship, and we've sort of been focused on them a lot of the year to know that we've got to be better. And they're a great team, and while it could have gone either way, I'm really proud of our guys for what they've achieved this year. It's a new team, we've said that all along, and to get an opportunity to go back-to-back is something I'm really proud of and really happy for our team.
Also, the biggest storyline today is obviously the second half defense. You guys came out with holding them scoreless for over 25 minutes of play. 18-3, you guys won the cost turnover battle. So tell me a little more about what the mentality was in the locker room coming out for the second half and how the script just completely flipped.
Well, I will say this. At halftime, we all went inside, and I happened to see this guy to my left who I completely believe in. And I heard him say something as I walked by him and said, "We've got this." He's back on, he's ready to go, and he's to hold a team to 3 goals like that for a whole half is an incredible effort. And Dylan was the person that helped lead that, and I'm really proud of his efforts and proud of the way that the defense rallied behind him.
Well, a lot of excellence on your roster. 3 players today found some records on their way. Noah and Michael tying the goals record, and Braden tying the single season points record. You have 45 plus seasons of Division II lacrosse and 3 players on your roster, plus Dylan's accolades as a goalie. What does that say about your caliber of talent this season?
Well, I think it goes back to the first goal we scored. And I remember that one as being, he probably hit a lot of pipes prior to that, but the ball was moving. There was 4 guys that could have taken a shot. And it was probably the 4th or 5th guy that ended up taking it. And I think that's a testament to this team. Well, whoever it is that is getting awards, is getting those today or breaking records, nobody cares. Nobody cares about awards on this team. And while awards come out, And I'll say it. Nobody cares about the awards or the records that we break. They really don't. The focus is on winning a championship this year. And they've held that focus and they've held that grit, determination, and belief since we came off the field last year that we can do it again. So, to go back-to-back for this team would mean a heck of a lot. Our locker room code, not giving it away, is the last time that we went back-to-back. And I'm really proud of the guys for the selflessness that they've had all year long.
I'll send this next question to the players, guys. The battles with St. Anselm these past year and two, the North region has been defined by these two programs. You guys have come out on top the past 2 years, but they still serve as your only loss since March of last year. So speak a little more on what that rivalry means, how it's formed, and how, as the coach said, they bring the best out of you guys.
You want? I'll take it. Yeah. Played St. Anselm my last 4 years here. There's never been a game where it's been a blowout. It's two of the top, like you said, two of the top teams in the North, battling it out every single game. We lost to Lemoyne, obviously made it a little bit more closer. Now it's really just, we look at it as us and them, who's going to duke it out, who's going to come out on top. Honestly, them being our only loss was probably the best thing that ever happened to this team. Right? We were still on that national championship high. Taking that loss, you saw a whole new energy in practice, a whole new energy through the players that we're beatable. Not saying that we can't, not saying that we're going to lose to anyone ever again, but we are beatable. So just from that mindset and seeing that it can be done, I think it pushed everyone a little bit harder to work harder, play as more of a team, and just be ready to compete every single game.
So, first off, I know Coach is saying record doesn't matter, but I'm wondering how much that means to you in terms of setting the single season record.
Doesn't really mean a lot to me. Came here to get to this point in the season, so that's kind of just been my main focus.
And obviously the record's awesome, you're also excellent on the ride today in terms of forcing turnovers. What was kind of focus in terms of doing that, of preventing Anselm from getting back in this one?
Yeah, that's been kind of a big one for me. I got scored on the ride last time we played them, so that was a big thing to make sure that doesn't happen again.
And for you, Ryan, to be able to accomplish this with your brother once again, to go back to the national championship, how does that add to this moment?
It's just really special. It's an honor to be able to play with him in high school, and I got the privilege of playing with him here. It just means so much to share this experience with not only my brother, but my other 50 brothers on the team. We all love each other very much. It just means a lot, and we weren't ready for it to be over, so everybody did their part, and everybody did their job, and that's why we're in the position we are in right now.
And obviously, like you were saying before, the second half being a big focus of defense of 25 minutes without allowing one. What was kind of the message at halftime in terms of the overall message to everybody that made that possible?
You want me to go? I got this.
Yeah, you got this.
So I'll say it wasn't my greatest half at all. First one to admit that. Emotions were running high. I was getting frustrated with myself. I just walked into that locker room and said, offense had me that first half. Now it's going to be our turn to have you in the second half, right? It's a game of runs. We were able to hold them to 3 in the second half. We did our job, and it frees up the offense. Freeing up the offense when you got shooters like Gibson, Durnan, Danellen, Kyle Lewis makes it a whole lot easier.
And in terms of the accomplishment of going back to the national championship, what is it about this group that makes that possible? It's not the easiest thing. It's the first time in D2 since 2019 that a team's gone back-to-back.
I'll circle back and say, it's not easy. Coming off last year's championship win and hitting the fall and hitting our first practice and first week of practice, we were incredibly confident. And we and players that came back offensively, we lost 4 of our top 6 guys, and there were real questions about if we could make that happen. But everybody's breaking records, as you guys are pointing out. It's not because we've got individuals that have talent, but we're creating goals that are easy goals to score. And that teamwork, and I think, Malloy, who's, Coach Dunn said it last year in that press conference, there's so many weapons coming at you that it's really hard to stop them all. And, on any given day, while Noah could have 3, any one of our guys could have 3, because there's so much sharing of the ball and the belief that if we play smart lacrosse, we're going to create an easy goal for ourselves. And what I'm really proud of is that they've bought into Coach Katz's offense. And, Dylan will take it on the chin and say, I had 1 save in the first half. And he had 7 saves in the second half and only gave up 3 goals and went scoreless for 25 minutes because of this guy and who he is and how much respect he carries for not just his teammates but also our coaching staff.
And you mentioned making goals easier. It felt like Kyle was a big part of doing that today with his feet.
Yeah, 2 and 3. I mean, 3 assists for a guy that, for a midi like him, he's an incredible player. I believe Kyle sees the field as good as any midi in the country. Can play offense and defense. I'm really proud of his efforts today. And it was a hot one out there. And we were drawing on our ones a lot. But they were up for the task. Him, Balco, Vinny, they played great. We got guys that just really want to win for all of the guys on our team. And I'm so proud of the way they came together this week. And I anticipate having a great week of practice to prepare for another national championship.
And the question for any of you guys, I always want to ask this, just what was that feeling like, holding that NCAA banner at the end, knowing that you're going back?
It was the goal. That was our mindset. We won our first one last time in 25 years. It's now, we're trying to make it the standard here. This program has probably hundreds of All-Americans in its past. It's got hundreds of All-Conference players in its past. When you have that much talent, every year should be national championship or nothing. We have, like you guys said, 35 guys who returned last year. Maybe it wasn't the 35 who all played, but we have the experience, whether it's on the bench, whether it's now getting on the field. We have experience in close games. We're battle tested. And that was probably the biggest thing that we were kind of worrying about going into the season, is how does this team react to close games. We lost the first one to St. Anselm. Battle tested, kept battling ourselves in practice, won an OT there, and found a way to come back in the second half and win this one.
And Ryan, amid that, the final surge of runs for Anselm there in the final minutes, what was kind of the message to the defense in terms of keeping, keeping them at bay, of allowing 2 but then not allowing any more?
We always just want to keep our composure. We never really worry. We know what we have to do. We're prepared very well, so when you're prepared, there's no reason to be worried. Coach Volpe does a great job with us, so we know it's a game of runs. They'll put some in, but then we got to hunker down, and we know what we have to do. We talk, we play together, and when we do that, good things happen.
My last question for you, Noah. Obviously, we talk about records, not mattering record. We're not focused on records, but what's going to be your message to Michael, knowing that you're tied with him heading into this?
Really nothing. We're always getting each other better, shooting outside of practice and stuff, so it just really helps a lot.
What record did we break here? Anybody want to give it to me?
Single season goals.
Single season goals? So who did we break? Is that Bobby Engelke who's standing downstairs? Am I going to get beaten up when I leave here?
2019. I forgot the name, but 2019.
Raccabuto? Oh, great. I'm sure Nico's just texted me. Yeah. If we got something, I just want to say how incredibly proud I am of the administration and the support from the president to the vice presidents that I know are texting me right now, to our athletic director that is completely supportive, to the professors, the other coaches, to work here at Adelphi and to carry this program and sort of put my hand up and say I'm the head coach is an incredible opportunity for me, my family who live this, and I'm so proud of being part of Adelphi University.
Well, Coach, before we wrap up, as you said, the hardest thing to do in sports is repeat. Storybook championship game now with an undefeated Tampa team. You guys haven't lost in over a year. You've seen it as from a player's perspective and a coach perspective. What is it going to take this time around?
Well, it's going to take, again, pretty much what we've spoken of here. Everything's over. We have a game to play. It's now one preparation. Win every practice we get a chance to. Win every drill you get a chance to be in. Anything we can suck up throughout this week to give us knowledge to help us prepare for that game against Tampa is what we need to do so that we're ready to play. And that's going to be the focus all week. It's about just being prepared to go out and play a style of game that I love watching and I love coaching. And it's going to be a real exciting week with these guys. Another exciting week to prepare to beat a solid Tampa team. You look at, coaches' votes what have you. I think 19 of them think Tampa's, the #1 seed, and 1 thinks Limestone in the last coaches poll. We know we're going to be, quote, an underdog, but these guys don't know that. They don't feel like we're an underdog. We're the ones that won last year. We're coming out to go, hey, you're going to have to take that trophy away from us. And that's the great thing about being, with this team, is they're, as I said, they came back, they were confident, and they're ready to play whoever we have to play. And it's just such a joy to be able to coach them again for another week.
Well, Coach, Noah, Dylan, Ryan, thank you guys so much. Congratulations and good luck in Foxborough.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's a great day to be a Panther.
Congratulations, guys.